With UCLA, I think UCLA might be the best team out in college basketball right now. Looking at them, I did the preseason like review of them, and they look like the perfect team, and they're just better than advertised. Like Lauren Betts just fits in so well with that team, and you've got Osborne, and you've got Kiki Rice, and they're just loaded. And then as well, you've got London Jones off the bench, and then they're just yeah, they're just so good. And I know South Carolina fan will be pissed off at this, but I think they're better than South Carolina. Like if I was looking at the two teams right now, I know South Carolina has a great resume as well, so not worried about, I'm not saying South Carolina doesn't, and ultimately they'll both be one seeds, but I think UCLA might be better than them, and the real reason is if you had to choose between the two, would you go with Lauren Betts or would you go with Cordoso? And I'm I'm just really impressed by Lauren Betts. I think she might be one of the best players. Like, yeah, definitely the best sophomore out there. And this was billed by ESPN. The UCLA Ohio State matchup was built. The matchup of the sophomores, which is a good way to build this game. And I thought UCLA might struggle just going in to Ohio State and was surprised how easily they did it. I know it sort of the Ohio State closed it in the fourth quarter and got it to down to 6 point. But during the game, from what I could see, it seemed like they controlled the game from what I saw. And then just other things on there that stuck out. Like the one thing that worries me about UCLA, and I'm not sure, is their 3 point shooting, and they did not shoot well from 3 point line. I think in the first half, I can't remember at the end of the first half if they'd. I don't think they'd made a 3 pointer in the first half, basically, and they were still up by around 10, and just continued to dominate. And they beat Ohio State on at least at halftime. They were beating them on turnovers, and the one big thing in truth, I haven't watched the game because I don't have access to it, but I was watching the play-by-play. I was just watching it intently. It seemed like Cody McMahon, she struggled a bit, so it's obvious on the box score that she went 2 for 14, and I imagine that was all due to, Lauren Betts's size inside, and that's the thing. UCLA just has so much size and so much depth. It is just ridiculous. Like, what's you've got Sontag who would start for a lot of teams. So she only gets 10 minutes. Then they've got Jaquez, who's a forward as well. She's great. And then Brown, who's a guard, I know, but she's experienced. I mean, those are starters that they are just so loaded. And it fits together. They have exactly what you want. And Charisma Osborne, you have the experienced point guard, and Kiki Rice, she just has the all around game and smooth. And Jones, you have instant offense, so she only went for 3 for 11. But again, just the parts fit together, and I wonder if their parts fit together better than South Carolina because the other thing I'm feeling is that when you look at South Carolina, I mean they're loaded. There's no doubt South Carolina is loaded, but um, I don't know about you, but I have more faith in Dugalich and Betts. I just love their high-low game together. They look for each other, and I see them dumping passes to each other and things like that. And I just think that their high-low game and their bigs play together better than Cardoso and Chloe Kitts, who are great as well. I know South Carolina fans going to be offended by this and say, "Ah, you were wrong with this. How dare you suggest that UCLA will be better than us?" But that's just the initial eye test. Is I just think clearly UCLA and South Carolina are the number one, number two teams, and I think UCLA might be better than South Carolina. The the other thing I think with Ohio State is the initial. Um, I think I have a theory on Ohio State. I think they'll go better in the tournament as the season progresses because I think they do their best when you have like back-to-back games and teams can't prep for them as well. I think if you have a full week to sort of prep for their press, then I think they tend to do a lot better. yeah, the teams against them versus in a tournament time when you go in that weekend, you have that first game and then you have to back up, a day after playing the next team. I think that that's when their press and trying to get turnovers will pay off. I'm not sure. The best thing they had out there was obviously JC Sheldon tonight. So she went for 30 and really kept them, helped them make that last minute run. Again, Cody McMahon struggled. His Theory was all right. She went for 6 for 9 as well for 20. Obviously, she did well. Um, Celeste Taylor 1 for 7. Um, I don't know if they have enough to I think they can. I'm seeing them like an Elite Eight is what I see Ohio State in my mind. Um, but overall, the main takeaway from this is I'm just so impressed by UCLA. I don't know if anybody else is, but you see it on paper and like, will the parts fit together? And now you see it, and um, the parts fit perfectly. And their coach Corey Close, she knows how to put it together. I love the way that she coaches, and because I rewatched the game where they played Florida in the Hall of Fame game, and Florida State did a good job sticking in that game. I think Florida State is tough, but they just handled them well as well. All comers they're taking. I like the way they handled UConn and the Grand Cayman tournament as well. And I'm just curious to see if anybody's going to be able to beat them in the Pac-12. So that will be, I mean, you're running the gauntlet there because you have so many good teams: Washington, Washington State, Colorado, Stanford. I cannot wait to watch UCLA versus Stanford. That is going to be an awesome game to watch. Um, so yeah, that's my main takeaway from tonight is UCLA is a real deal. They went on the road and they got it done. And it's going to be one of those nights where um, going into the game, I thought Ohio State might jump them and get them with the press and turnovers and just a hostile environment, and UCLA might crumble, and it might be, one of those "Welcome to the Big Ten," type things. But no, it was totally the opposite. No, UCLA is the real deal. Now, the other game that I was keeping my eye on was obviously UConn versus Butler, and um, I think this is exactly what UConn wanted. They sort of got punched in the nose early because Butler couldn't miss a shot, it appeared. And yeah, I think in short, the Yukon Huskies are starting to figure out who they are, which is every game we go in, we need to win the 3-point battle, and they won the 3-point battle in this one, so they won it 12-27 versus Butler 10-16. And then if they win the rebound battle like they did in this game, so it was 21-32, it's done. And then the other aspect is well, in the end, UConn as well won the turnover battle. So Butler had 14 and UConn only had 8, which was good for them. I know Mule was feeling a bit off, so well, she still got 28 minutes, but she only had one turnover, which was a big improvement because Gino crushed her after the last game, calling it a nightmare game. It sounds like she's been battling the flu, so maybe I was too tough on her after the last game. But no, I think they're figuring it out. And then obviously Ashland Shade had a good game with Shade going for 9 of 15 for 22, and he's talked about it again. The other one was um, with Aubrey Griffin as well. She had a good game, 14 points, and was into the game early on. And he really sees those two. You've probably watched the post game, but he sees those two is very similar. They're both really kids that want to do the best they can, probably oversensitive and want to do way too much versus that cocky kid that thinks they're the best ever. I had a comment on my page saying, man, if you could just give Griffin a bit of Mule and Mule a bit of Griffin and personality. I was thinking, yeah, a Freaky Friday sort of personality switch would be perfect for those two because I reckon that commenter had it right. Griffin needs more confidence, and Mule needs to dial it down and think, oh, that pass. I'm sure on Mule, I can make this pass. I think it would be better for her if she had a little bit of conservatism or less confidence in her game potentially that would serve them both well. The other ones, Becker's was Becker's. She went for 16. I think the pleasing thing is that she only went for 16. Like she went for 5 for 9 shooting and only went for 16. And I say that tongue in cheek, but they were still able to dominate and win, and that's what he's looking for. And if he gets it from the other seniors, from what I could see, it looked like Edwards struggled a bit initially with her opening shot, but she still put together a solid game for a double double. You're not going to argue with that. I mean, there are going to be nights where you do it, but if you get it from your seniors, and that's what he said, if we get it from our seniors, so if we get it from Edwards, um, Becker, well, Edwards, Becker's Mule, and Griffin, your senior players, then they're going to be fine, and that's exactly the way because you figure one of the freshmen will come to play. And tonight it was Shade. Tomorrow night, the previous game it was Arnold that had the game, and then you're waiting for Q to have another breakout game. So she went for 6 on 2 for 3, 2 for 3 on 3 pointers. So out of those, I really think they're starting to know who the hell they are and are starting to put together. The other thing he mentioned, it was interesting. He talked about um, Brady got more minutes tonight. She got 11 minutes. He was talking about her a bit, saying, sort of in the post game, teasing her a bit, saying that she thought she was Lou and with her guard skills, and if she wants to play at UConn you have to be tough inside, and that's what they need from her. And it sounds like they're just giving her tough love in practice, and that they were happy with her game, that she was hard on the boards and sort of gave them toughness inside is what they're looking for. And this is the good part about the Big East for UConn is it's the time where it's almost been the perfect scenario for them. They've been able to play tough teams like Texas and UCLA, obviously, and NC State, and sort of have their weaknesses exposed and sort of brought down a level. And now they have the Big East, where they can sort of lick their wounds, rebuild, and try to get stronger and develop who they are, and then they get a final test versus South Carolina, like a strong test against South Carolina, and that's sort of their chance to hopefully you know, move up in the rankings and get a high seed for when the tournament time starts. So overall, those are the things that I saw tonight. I thought it was two good games and interesting. Again, my takeaway was UCLA is really the team to is really the team that I'm most impressed with so far. So, and I can't wait to watch the Pac-12 this year because I think it's just going to be good matchup every single night because they have so much talent. Such a shame the conference is breaking up, but I mean it'll be interesting next year watching UCLA and USC go into the Big Ten. So anyway, your comments, your feedback as well. Is the video better tonight? So do I still look like I'm in a witness protection program or not? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, I thought I'd go ahead and try to do another live stream just for the hell of it. Because I'm off on holidays now, so I figured better to do this real quick, do a real quick video because I have to go to the yard after this. Man, it's hot in Australia right now. Let me tell you, it must be about 35 degrees here. Well, about 90 degrees here. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Hope to see you next time. Oh, if you want to take a look, I did a video on Patterson's knee injury. You'll see in the video, I'm just not sure what's going on with it. I don't know if she's had microfracture and now she's having debridement of her patella tendon or what the story is, and not just sort of speculate on it. If you don't like speculation of injuries, then stay a hell away from that video. All right, have a good night.